It made me think of a few things, just everything y'all shared. Thank y'all for all of that. I feel like the rebuilding trust, we tapped into that really well. Let's just kind of like maybe marinate a little on the staying too long in painful situations. Because I think that part of the question is what really probably intrigues the healer in me, right? I think of folks I talk to who come to me for maybe some advice, and a lot of them, whether it's professionally, personally, spiritually, maybe staying too long in a circumstance, right? Where, I'm a proper Aries. I got a lot of fire in my blood too, right? Like those Leos. And I have a low tolerance of being in a space too long where I'm unhappy. Doesn't mean it never happened, right? I think as I got older, it tend to diminish or decrease. I want to say not diminish, decrease. What is it, y'all? What is it that why we find humans in a space where they are staying too long? They know that, right? And it could be work, right? It could be love, it could be family, right? It could be friends, like a friend, a best friend too, right? It could be any of those where it lands. What is the advice for that individual, right? And I'm not saying to completely let it go because we know that doesn't happen in all situations, but what can a person do if I am a person in that space, right? And I am in a situation and I'm expressing to Bryan, Michael, Ruth, hey, I'm going through this, and all signs saying I'm staying too long. Y'all know that. You know it in your heart. What advice are you giving me? Right? In terms of moving forward, getting past, or supporting me in that space if I'm coming to you in that way.
For me, I would ask you to make a list, pros and cons list of why you're staying. Because the thing is, a lot of times we stay in situations, we stay in jobs because it's comfortable. There has to come a point, a time in our life to where it becomes uncomfortable. And that's the uncomfortability. God will make it so uncomfortable for you that it will force you. Either it's going to be willing or unwilling to where you're going to part ways. So it's not necessarily, it's going to be painful, but staying too long in a situation, you diminish yourself. You make yourself sometimes in your mind, you make yourself feel smaller than who you really are. You can't bring your best ideas. You can't bring your best self forward in a relationship. You can't bring your best self in a friendship because if you do, you feel like you are disappointing that person. You're disappointing people in your family. But when it becomes too comfortable, that's when it's time to find a way to either shift, pivot, or find something else to do. But at the end of the day, believe whoever you believe in, your higher believing, because I believe in God, He will make it so uncomfortable for you and He will force you out. Or you could pray about it and say, God, show me my direction. How can I get out of this situation? It may not happen overnight, but it will happen in time. But also doing that list and sticking to that list, because a lot of times we take those pros and cons lists, and I myself have done that, and I will take these cons and be like, these are the best things ever. It's not even the pros. The pros are okay, but these cons I can stick with all these red flags. But just know, I would tell anybody, make a list, think about it, sit in it, and it's going to be uncomfortable. But when it's uncomfortable, then you know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think people don't move because they're comfortable. Similar to what Ruth said. Regardless if it's bad, abusive, whatever, you know what to expect. And people can get used to routines, regardless of how terrible it is. And so, like, when I'm supporting people or even to myself, there's a couple of questions that I ask myself. And that, Bryan, I think you named one of them. Like, Mike, are you happy? And define what happy is. All right. What are some facts that show that you're happy? Are you smiling? Are you laughing? Are you having joy? Are you excited to come home? If any of those things are no, you're not really happy. You're lying. You're turning that con list into something else. Um, the next question I would ask is, Mike, what are you becoming? What is your trajectory? Bryan, you said goal oriented. I'm all about improving myself. If I'm going the opposite way, that's not a good thing. And the last question that I always ask is like, what are you risking by staying in this relationship? And if I'm risking happiness, peace, time with my family, security, feeling enough, if all these things are at risk, I, like, I would encourage you to move because it's not worth it. Like how you treat you matters. And like I tell people all the time, I want you to treat yourself right because you're worth too much. And when you're not, you're risking too much. And so like those are the things I would really encourage people. I know it. People don't leave because they want to be comfortable, low self-esteem, insecurity. I had to think, how do I find another person that's going to love me like the way I need to be loved? The fact of the matter is, you're probably in a relationship. If you're having some of these things, you're not being loved the way you need to be loved, yo. It's not real. That's fake. You started to make in I'm just gonna say inequity kind of love, like fake love, real. It's not. You're lying to yourself. So you have to ask yourself these questions in the mirror and have an honest conversation with you first in that mirror, and then you can take the next best step.
And I'll say one more thing. We're scared. We get scared. We are so scared and afraid to just walk away from situations because we don't want to feel the pain. I can speak from experience. I literally have been in relationships that I was so scared that I wasn't going to find somebody else, that there wasn't somebody good enough for Ruth, that there wasn't somebody who was capable of loving me the way that I gave love out to all of these people. And I have to remind myself that there is another person, there is somebody out there who's going to love me, and they're going to love me just the way that I am. But we can't be scared and also just do it scared. Because when you do it scared, the outcome is totally different. You're going to look back and you're going to say, I am so grateful and thankful that I did it scared instead of staying in the situation long enough and staying in the situation more than I should have. And sometimes when there is domestic violence relationships, those are the hardest ones for people to get out of because you feel like that's all you will ever know. And I can't say that it's going to happen overnight, but there will come a time where that light switch will come on. And when that light switch just comes on, you got to give it everything you got, scared, afraid, brokenness, all of those things, and never look back.
You touch on such a great point, like fear. Fear is such a motivation for someone to stay in a painful situation, you know? And when you think about painful situations, like a great example, the Diddy trials just concluded. And that's a great example of people staying in shit way too long. Okay. And it's like when you're in that situation, because especially as a lawyer, I have been at a firm and I'm like, wow, this place is really toxic. It didn't just get that way. It was little steps, little inches down. And over time, people are looking up and like, how did this become this? And if you want to change that to not stay in a painful situation after you've been there a long time, you have to take those little inches back up, those little things back up to build your confidence, to put you in a position where you feel like making a big jump. Because sometimes, life is interesting. It might just be a quick chop and your life changes. But a lot of times it's not that way. It's a gradual thing to change your life. It's baby steps. So you just have to be aware of that and give yourself that opportunity to take those baby steps.
Okay. Those are all great gems. And when y'all were saying, I think it was Michael, when you said something, it made me think of there was fear name, comfort, right? I think there's also just being complacent. I think also with love, and I think it's just a human thing too. So I say this in just like theory and not like facts. I think sometimes humans just in the space of tend to fall into a routine space and creatures of habit, creatures of routine, and it's a routine. So as long as I'm in this routine, I'm okay. Does if this person mistreats me at least once, yesterday's it was twice, it's once today, that's okay. The routine is back again. The routine, right? It makes me think of that because I think when with this question, it makes me reflect personally on maybe some of my things, but also just, as a human, you interact with other humans and they tell you things and you're like, oh, damn, you've been in that long? Like, seriously? You've been starving that long? You start to question that, right? But you're not living in it with them. So, you don't know what that person is feeling, going through the moments or whatever else. Pivoting to the next question here. Can you share what has helped you or others find the courage to rebuild trust after heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment? And I want to add a caveat to this. Doesn't have to be individually, love for someone to touch on community if you were affected in a community sense, but whichever way you want to deliver it, whoever wants to go first, let's go.
I could take it from maybe a community standpoint, but also for me, I have to take it to a church standpoint. Rebuilding trust within the church, for me, it was a sense of I had a lot of church hurt. The things that happened in my life, the way that people treated me when I decided to come out and say, I like women, I'm a lesbian. It was, you might as well say, it was a whole shit show. They had a problem with it. Um, and I left the church for a long time. I stepped away and I said, what kind of God do I serve that allows this to take place, that allows people to treat me in this way? And so it took me a long time. I think it took me about maybe 5 years. It could be shorter or longer than that for me to even step foot back into a church house because I had to build that community of trust for God's people in order for me to trust them enough for me to say, okay, I have the courage to do this. I'll take it 1 inch at a time with you guys. I'm not going to give you a mile. I'm just going to give you a small little inch of that. And it helped me. It helped me to become the person that I am. It helps me to stand tall and strong in my sexuality, the person that I continue to be, and to be able to show people this is what true community is: us standing together, us loving each other, us showing that this is a safe space and you are welcomed here. Do not allow anyone to tear you down. Have people in your corner who will continue to build you up. So that's what it was for me. It was a lot of disappointment and I felt I was betrayed, but I look back now, it just made me a stronger person to continue to help other people.
Adam, you were talking about like people going through some things. I forgot what you said, but what came up for me is um, yeah, you was like, oh, they didn't. I didn't know you were starving for that long or whatever. Like a lot of times, you see couples that get a divorce or something like that, and you're like, dang, I thought they were good. And it goes to one of the things that you had, Adam. They were wearing masks. They covered that stuff up really well. And at the home, it's fighting like cats and dogs. And when you're out in public, it's the best love ever. We call that keeping up with the Joneses, trying to act like you are something that you're not. And so like for me, I stopped wearing my mask. When I stopped wearing my mask, then I can recover from heartbreak. And what I really mean by that is sometimes heartbreak hurts. And so people will be walking around like, "All right, Mike, how are you? I'm working through it. My feelings is hurt right now." Or other people will put the mask back on. "I'm good," but you're not. And so I'm willing to be vulnerable, the courage to be vulnerable. I think vulnerability is more about strength than being soft. To be in my emotions. I'm always in my feelings. Why? Because I love and trust easy. And I know I will experience heartbreak. And I know people are like, well, that's stupid. Why don't you protect yourself? What I would tell them is like the more I'm open, the more I can show my heart, and the more I love, the closer I am to my grandma. So heartbreak, that's not a big risk to me. The biggest risk is not being close to her. So I'm going to be me, take off my mask all the time, and that's how I recover because I'm closer to her. In knowing for every person that breaks my heart, there's going to be three or four people that pour into me. And I can affect other people's experiences and in a way that's can be life changing. So like to be honest, forgive pretty quickly. Like I might be mad at her, but I'm like I don't hold on to that stuff because like that it's not for me. That's like I ain't gonna carry that extra baggage. I already got some some baggage of my own. I don't need other people's stuff. So like that's how I kind of move through everything. It's just breathing, loving, and feeling in alignment with my grandma.
Heartbreak is definitely like the big word because it's been many times where, especially like over the years and stuff, like community wise and personal wise, but like especially like as black people coming together, black and brown people coming together, sometimes your community lets you down. Your community breaks your heart. Uh when I had first started my business trade, it's like athletic and like sportswear and stuff. And I thought like my teammates, I thought my own teammates would be a big supporter of what I was doing. And come to find out they weren't. And I was just like, wow, my own teammates. Like what no, I'm like, let's not let this hit the news headline. Okay. My own teammates doesn't like the brand I'm starting. Um, but it was more of I I took it very personal. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I took it very personal, and what helped me through that and the courage to build trust with my team, because I still got to play with these men, is to understand that they might not be in the space to see what I'm actually trying to do. They're trying to make it to this league or that league. We're trying to make it to nationals, playoffs. They're not thinking, oh, I need to be wearing the best sports clothes. They're not thinking that right now. And I have to accept that because we're in two different headspaces. I'm 30 in athlete years. That's like 45. So, and I've had my coach call me an old man several times. And I've realized, I was like, the younger people, a lot of people on my team are younger. They are not looking into business ventures. They're not thinking about the future as in what am I going to do after I turn 30. They're not thinking about that. It's very in the now. And I'm not saying you have to make excuses for people, but trying to see things from other people's perspective can really help ease the pain that you feel and can help you heal through it.
I will say one addition to the heartbreak, because the question is, how what helped. So for me, therapy did help. I was in therapy for quite some time. Therapy did help through my relationships. And then I read a book called Let Them. the book helped me. It helped me through this season that I'm in. And then God sent an amazing man with easy equity who became my life coach. Mike became my life coach. And I'm a plug him because that man helped me. I think he fired me because I was doing so well, but you have to find a support system. You have to find people who are going to root for you. You have to find people who, when you are at your lowest moment, when you are on the ground, you have people that are willing to put their hand out and lift you up and hold you up in those rough moments. I know Mike saw me a few months ago from where I was, and he sees me now, and so is Adam. And I'm not the same person I was. But just know, if you have resources, if you surround yourself with people during a heartbreak, it takes time, but the time gets a little better. The heart heals just a little bit faster. But yeah, you never forget what they've done, but you can forgive them, but you never return to it again.